He thought it was just another poor woman walking in the rain until she turned around and his heart stopped. The woman he'd just humiliated wasn't a stranger. It was the pregnant wife he'd abandoned. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? United States, Canada, UK, Australia, Jamaica. It had been raining for 2 days straight in a small Texas town called Waverly Creek. The streets were soaked, puddles everywhere, and the sky was a dull gray that seemed to match Malcolm's mood perfectly. Once, Malcolm had been the man everyone in town respected, ran a construction business, drove a brand new truck, and had a wife who adored him. But pride can make a man blind. When Renee, his wife, got pregnant 2 years ago, Malcolm didn't see it as a blessing. He saw it as a burden. He started saying things like, "You're holding me back, and I'm not ready for all this responsibility." Before long, he packed his bags, told her it was for the best, and left town with Tasha, a woman nearly 10 years younger, who made him feel like he still had something to prove. But the truth, since then, nothing had gone right. His construction contracts dried up. His friends stopped calling. The truck wasn't even his anymore. It belonged to the bank. And yet, there he was, trying to act like he still had it all together. That afternoon, rain poured hard, the kind that makes you squint just to see the road. Malcolm was driving an old, beat-up sedan that rattled every time he hit a bump. Tasha sat in the passenger seat, scrolling through her phone, complaining about the weather. "UGH, why do we even live here?" she said. "Can't you drive faster?" "It's cold," Malcolm grumbled. "Road's slick. Don't want to end up in a ditch." They passed by the edge of town, small houses, muddy lawns, and a few folks walking under umbrellas. Then Malcolm's eyes caught something. A woman, walking slowly along the roadside. No umbrella, soaked from head to toe. She carried a grocery bag in one hand, her other hand resting gently on her swollen belly. Tasha looked up from her phone. "Look at her. Who even walks in this weather? Probably another broke chick who made bad choices." She smirked, glancing at Malcolm. "Bet she wishes she had a man to drive her around." Malcolm chuckled dryly. "Yeah, probably." Then, without thinking, maybe trying to impress Tasha, maybe out of sheer arrogance, he pressed down on the gas as they approached a big puddle near the curb. The tires hit the water hard. A wave of muddy rain splashed up, drenching the woman from head to toe. Tasha burst into laughter, slapping the dashboard. "Oh my God, did you see that? You soaked her." Malcolm laughed too, but only for a second, because as they drove past, the woman turned around, even through the rain, even with the mud on her face. He knew that look, the eyes, the pain. It was Renee. For a moment, Malcolm forgot how to breathe. He slammed the brakes, his heart pounding. Tasha frowned. "Why'd you stop?" Malcolm just stared into the rearview mirror. Through the sheets of rain, he saw Renee standing still, not yelling, not cursing, not even wiping the mud away. She just stood there, holding her belly protectively, calm in a way that made him feel small. Tasha looked back and snorted. "What's her problem? She'll dry off. Come on, let's go." But Malcolm couldn't move. His hands were gripping the wheel so tight, his knuckles turned white. He whispered, barely audible, That's my wife." Tasha turned sharply. "What? That woman?" Her laughter died instantly. "Wait, you mean your ex-wife? The one you said was clingy and broke?" Malcolm didn't answer. He just kept staring, because just then, A black Rolls-Royce pulled up beside Renee. A man stepped out, tall, well-dressed, holding a large umbrella. He rushed to her side, gently brushing mud from her coat before helping her into the car. And Malcolm felt something break inside him, that kind of pain that no apology can fix. Tasha whispered, "Who's that guy?" Malcolm swallowed hard, rain beating down on the windshield. "I don't know," he said quietly, "but he treats her better than I ever did." He put the car in drive and pulled away slowly, his reflection ghostly in the rearview mirror, a man watching his own mistakes come back to life. Outside, the rain didn't stop. It just fell heavier, like the sky itself was ashamed of him. Have you ever realized too late how much you hurt someone who truly cared about you? Do you think people like Malcolm deserve second chances? Or does karma always find its way? For a long moment, Malcolm sat frozen in the driver's seat, watching the black Rolls-Royce pull up beside Renee. Rain tapped against the windshield like a steady drumbeat. His chest felt tight, like the air itself was pressing down on him. He'd expected her to fall apart without him. He used to tell her, "You can't survive without me, Renee. I'm all you've got." But now, watching her climb into that luxury car with calm, graceful movements, like a woman who finally knew her worth, Malcolm realized something that hit harder than guilt. She didn't need him at all. The man who stepped out of the driver's seat, Mr. Howard Lane, looked nothing like the kind of rich man Malcolm used to imagine. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't showing off. He was simple, dressed in a plain gray coat and brown shoes. But there was something about him, the way he held himself, the way he gently held Renee's elbow as he guided her to the car, that said respect. Tasha broke the silence first. "Okay, what's going on here?" she said, crossing her arms. "You gonna tell me why your ex is stepping into a Rolls-Royce while you're driving this rust bucket?" Malcolm ignored her. His eyes followed Renee's face. Even under the umbrella, he could see her looking straight ahead, not even glancing in his direction. That stung more than if she'd yelled. He muttered, She's different." Tasha rolled her eyes. "Different? She looks the same, wet, muddy, pregnant. You're just feeling guilty. Don't start crying on me, Malcolm." Her words snapped him back. He slammed the car into gear and drove off, tires splashing through more puddles. Tasha sighed. "You've been acting weird since we left your old house last month. You said you didn't care. What happened to her?" Malcolm's jaw clenched. "I didn't think I did." They drove in silence for a few minutes. The rain softened, turning into a mist. But Malcolm's thoughts were louder than ever. He remembered the night he left Renee, how she stood at the door with tears on her face, holding a small ultrasound photo. He didn't even look back. Now, that same woman was being helped into a car worth more than everything he owned. And she looked peaceful. At the next red light, Malcolm couldn't resist. He turned the car around. Tasha frowned. "What are you doing?" I need to see something." When they drove back by the spot, the Rolls-Royce was still parked outside a small grocery store. Renee was inside, standing at the counter, buying flowers and baby vitamins. Mr. Lane stood beside her, talking softly to the cashier, smiling politely. Malcolm parked far enough not to be seen, but close enough to watch. Tasha leaned forward. "That's her, huh? Your ex? She doesn't look rich." Malcolm didn't answer. He was too busy watching how Mr. Lane looked at Renee. Not with pity, not with lust, but with admiration. The kind of look that said, "I see who you really are." and I'm proud of it. The doorbell chimed as Renee and Mr. Lane walked out. Lane held the flowers, his other arm wrapped gently around her shoulders. As they approached the car, Mr. Lane's eyes shifted for just a second, directly toward Malcolm's vehicle. It was only a glance, but it was enough. He knew. Malcolm's hands trembled on the steering wheel. He saw me, he whispered. Tasha frowned. Who cares if he did? Let's go. This is pathetic. But Malcolm couldn't start the car. He just stared as the billionaire opened the back door for Renee, helped her in, then circled around to the driver's side, right before the Rolls-Royce pulled away. Renee turned slightly toward the window. Their eyes met, just for a second, and in that second, she didn't look angry. She didn't look hurt. She looked free. Malcolm's throat tightened. The kind of pain that comes when you realize you didn't just lose someone, you threw them away. Tasha, clearly irritated, broke the silence. You know what? I'm not doing this. You're sitting here crying over some pregnant chick who's living her best life. Drop me off. I'm done. Malcolm didn't argue. He drove her home without a word. When she got out, she slammed the door. You're a loser. Malcolm. Always will be. The words didn't even hurt anymore. They just confirmed what he already knew. He sat in the car alone for a long while, staring through the rain. Somewhere out there, the woman he once left was living the kind of peace he never found. And deep down, he knew the mud he threw didn't land on her. It landed on him. But that wasn't the last time Malcolm saw her. A few days later, fate gave him one more chance, and this time, she wasn't the one standing in the rain. He was. 3 days passed. 3 long, sleepless nights where the sound of rain seemed to mock him. Malcolm couldn't shake the image of Renee's calm eyes as she sat in that Rolls-Royce. She didn't yell. She didn't curse him. She just looked. Done. He'd seen anger before. But peace? That was new. And somehow, it hurt worse. He spent the next few days trying to drown his thoughts in cheap whiskey and television. But nothing silenced that little voice inside his head whispering, "You threw away gold for gravel." Then, on the 4th morning, something strange happened. He was sitting outside a diner with a cup of stale coffee when a convoy of luxury cars pulled into the parking lot. Black Cadillacs, polished, silent, expensive, the kind you see in movies. Everyone in the diner turned to stare, and when the first door opened, Malcolm's breath caught. Renee stepped out, elegant, glowing, her baby bump now visible beneath a white coat. She looked like a different woman, healthier, happier. He barely recognized her. Behind her, Mr. Lane followed, talking with 2 men in suits. They were setting up a banner beside the diner's entrance that read, "Howard Foundation Community Support Program Launch." Malcolm blinked. Community Support Program? Here? He had no idea she was connected to anything like that. Renee was shaking hands with the diner owner, smiling warmly. She wasn't pretending. Her joy was real. He wanted to walk away. He should have walked away. But something in him, pride, guilt, regret, made his legs move toward her. "Renee?" He called out. She turned slowly. Their eyes met again, this time under clear skies instead of rain. For a second, the world went quiet. She smiled faintly, polite but distant. "Malcolm, it's been a while." He nodded awkwardly. "Yeah, I saw you the other day. I didn't know that was you." Her smile didn't change. "It's okay. Life has a funny way of showing us what we need to see." Mr. Lane walked over, extending a hand. You must be Malcolm. Renee's told me about you. Malcolm's stomach dropped. He shook the man's hand hesitantly. Sure she did? Yes, Mr. Lane said kindly. She said you were part of what made her who she is today. Malcolm didn't know what to say. He expected resentment. Revenge, not grace. Renee looked at him gently. Malcolm, I forgave you a long time ago. Holding on to anger would have destroyed me. I chose peace. Her words hit harder than any insult ever could. He swallowed. You're really married to him? She nodded, smiling. Yes. He found me when I had nothing, when I didn't even want to be found. Malcolm's voice cracked. And now you have everything. Renee shook her head softly. Not everything, Malcolm. Just enough. Enough love. Enough peace. Enough purpose. That's all anyone really needs. He looked down at his worn-out shoes, at his trembling hands. I was stupid, Renee. I thought I was doing the right thing. Chasing freedom, money, excitement. But I only ended up losing myself. She sighed, and for a moment, her old tenderness flickered through. Sometimes we have to lose everything to understand what truly matters. Mr. Lane placed a hand on her shoulder. We have to go. Sweetheart, the event's starting. Renee gave Malcolm one last look. Take care of yourself. Malcolm, you still have time to find your peace. But you have to want it. Then she turned and walked away. Her white coat glimmering under the morning sun. Malcolm stood there, frozen as the convoy drove off. The wind blew a small flyer from the table beside him. It read, Howard Foundation, supporting second chances. He smiled sadly. Second chances, he muttered. Guess I missed mine. But as he watched the banner flutter in the breeze, he realized maybe he hadn't missed it completely. Maybe the second chance wasn't about getting Renee back, but becoming someone she'd be proud to remember. If you were in Renee's shoes, would you forgive Malcolm or let him live with his guilt forever? Share your thoughts below. I'm curious how you handle it. Sometimes, life doesn't punish us with storms. It just lets us watch the sun shine on the people we once hurt, and that's its own kind of justice. But if you ever get the chance to say sorry, don't wait. Because forgiveness might just be the last door that still opens when everything else is closed.